I'm too grateful tonight for those readings. Mrs. Eddy lays it out very plainly, the advantages of mind healing. As Florence went through, our great physician that we have to go to every moment of every day. And we learn here the dominion is within. There is no problem that this great physician cannot solve, and he's always with us. And this is provable. It's simple. And as she lists the advantages of mind healing, one of them is you become better morally. Your life improves in every way. You have more joy, more peace, more health, more love, more of all good things as you turn to our wonderful Father, Mother, God. This past Sunday at the round table, I had mentioned a testimony someone had sent to me. It was actually Anne in England, and it came from the book, A Century of Christian Science Healing. Many of you are familiar with it. And it was the whole book is full of incredible healings of all types and sorts, everything healed through the practice of Christian Science. But the one she mentioned, I'll just share some of it with you tonight because it was such a wonderful healing. It says, I just joined a major aircraft manufacturing company as an engineer, and this was the first assignment they'd given me. What they wanted me to do was to design a compact but rugged gearing mechanism to control the elevators on the tail of a jet plane. They'd encountered some rather difficult control problems with this particular airplane, occasioned by exceeding the speed of sound, going through the so-called sound barrier, and so they required a gearing mechanism to remedy the difficulty. I found out later they had had other men working on this problem for almost a year, but they hadn't been able to find a satisfactory solution. After studying the problem for 2 or 3 weeks, I realized that probably there was no analytical solution for it. The problem was very complicated. It involved the location of several linkages in the proper relationship to each other and to the airplane. Primarily, I had to locate 3 main centers around the links. That was the crux of the problem. Mathematically, there seemed to be an infinite number of possible locations for these centers, but there was probably only one set that would satisfy all the requirements. There just wasn't any way to work it out mathematically, so far as I could see. And after it goes on, he says he sits at a drafting board for quite a period of time trying to work it out. And he finally realizes that there is really no way to solve this that he could think of except through Christian Science. And in the work that he'd done, he had solved many problems through prayer. So he said he sat at his table for a half an hour or more praying, and he was knowing about the intelligence of mind. It says, I sat there trying to become more aware of my close unity and relationship with this mind, the unchanging relationship, that all true intelligence comes from God, not from any so-called human mind, that man is the expression of divine intelligence. So as he sat there working, he just got some ideas, and he started to draw a few things, and he made 3 points, and in a short period of time, he had solved the problem. He had to test it, of course, which he did, and then when he went to the manager and told him, the manager says, there's no way you could have solved this in this amount of time. He said, we've been working on this for over a year. He said, you go back and you think about it some more. So the guy said, okay, all right. So he went back, he thought about it some more, and he said, this was the answer. He knew this was the answer. He told the guy again. The guy sent him back again. He said, you can't have figured it out in this short a period of time. Well, it turned out that he had figured it out in that short a period of time. And he hadn't figured it out, but God had. And he had tapped into God. Well, his boss said, I had a man working on this for almost a year, and I worked on it some, and others did too, and we just couldn't get the thing to work out. but it looks like this one might work. So we finally approved having parts made for the flight tests. And the very first test showed that the mechanism functioned perfectly. So it was put into production, and the basic design is still flying today. When you realize there's an infinite number of possibilities where they might have been located, you can't but help see that it was relying on divine intelligence that brought the right answer. To me, this was a clear proof that when we listen for God's guidance humbly and prayerfully, we can be led to the right answer, even though from a human standpoint, the problem appears to be without a solution. This was Dwight S. Mills, Felton, California. So not only do we have God as our great physician, we have God as the great teacher, the one who supplies all our needs, the one who gives us answers to what would seem to be impossible problems. Just as in the Bible, Daniel was able to interpret the dreams. The greatest magicians and sorcerers, no one could figure them out, but through prayer, Daniel could. Here we are sitting on this titanic power that is so great that we should all be shouting it from the rooftops, because there is no problem that it cannot solve. This great infinite source of divine good. I'm so grateful for Christian Science, for dear Mrs. Eddy, for all of you, and for our independent Christian Science Church.